What's up, everyone? This is Mitch from RespectMyRegion.com here with another episode of Digital Trapper Institute DTI. Man, if we weren't going live, I'd run that back real quick. Messed up almost immediately upon starting this. Not surprising. Today's topic we're going to be going over on DTI is running paid advertising for cannabis on Facebook and Instagram. That's right, paid ads, not just organic social media for cannabis, but actually paid advertising. So a lot of people say it can't be done. A lot of people say it's against the terms of service. We'll get into that stuff, but I'm here to tell you, one, it can be done. Two, it may be against the terms of service, but cannabis is federally illegal. So anyone out there participating in this industry that you could land you on Forbes or anything like that, you're still committing felonies. Imagine that. So if you're in the legal cannabis industry and you're worried about the rules, the regulations, the red tape, and you're in the wrong space, because a lot of us have been around this since this wasn't even legal on a state or county level. So if you're in cannabis, you got to be a little bit anti-rules. You got to be a little bit use the tools that you have at your advantage. You just have to have that built into your mindset. I know myself and a lot of us that have been around. It's hard for us to get compliant and follow the rules because we've had to not follow the rules for what we believed in for so long. So there's this cross point, and I've seen some chatter online where people talk cannabis businesses running Google ads or this or that. You're actually hurting the industry. That stuff is corny. To me, it's kind of square. Maybe it is true. Hyping up cannabis to these algorithms does have some restrictions and fallback on everyone else, but trying to get into the legal cannabis game and then look at everyone and say you better follow the rules or you're messing it up for everyone else just seems super ironic and very square. I'm not trying to bash anyone individually. I'm just saying, being around cannabis for a long time, the rebel spirit to just make things happen regardless if the rules and regulations on your side, that's a huge part of the mindset. So I don't get why people either lose that or maybe they never had it. So if you come into this space and don't understand that, you need to understand that nuance. Anyways, social media. Everyone knows social media is not friendly to cannabis. Cannabis has this weird fixation with Instagram. The industry loves Instagram. It's like this abusive significant other. You love it, you won't leave it, but it continually smacks you in the face. And I'm not trying to make light of a joke of domestic violence. That was probably a bad metaphor. I'm going live. I apologize for that. But it's like this abusive spouse that people do not like, but keep going back to and put so much emphasis in. There's plenty of other tools out there, but social media is still very powerful. And it's clearly, if you look at brands like Steezy, 710 Labs, even, maybe cases for like Alien Labs and Connected could be made, but like Instagram is one of the biggest proponents in marketing for these brands. So there are some of the mega brands in cannabis. I was talking to Brad from 710 Labs on the podcast a while ago, and he said Instagram was the main reason he believed their brand is so big. But that is an outlier story. For every 710 Labs, there is 710,000 Instagram accounts taken down, and it's not by competitors. Sure, competitors in this space do flag people, which is weird to come from a space that's anti-snitching and now snitching exists, but we're not going to get onto all those nuances. But it is weird that that happens, but the algorithm is just not friendly. Whether we're talking about shadow bans or getting just deleted, getting caught in the algorithm, we're on respectmyregion.usa for our Instagram handle. So trust me, we know Instagram is not that favorable to cannabis. It's shut down a lot of us. Anyways, anyhow, it is still a powerful tool. Everyone is on social media. There's all this conversation. We need to start a cannabis only social media. I don't believe that will ever be successful because I believe social media is where we engage with everybody we know and meet new connections based around all of our interests. We don't need a social media. I like basketball. I don't need a platform that's just basketball and a platform that's just hip hop and just skateboarding and just cannabis. I want one platform where I can share any one of those things and interact with other people. That's why an Instagram or Facebook is so big. And until something has reached the tipping point of consumer adoption, there's no way you're going to get a massive amount of people over there. And again, if you're marketing cannabis, you don't want to just market to the top 1%. I mean, maybe you do, but most brands are not going to want to market to just the top 1% that are only going to talk about cannabis on that. But anyways, there are 3 ways to run paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. That's right. All right. Cannabis is against the terms of service on Instagram in general. So we'll get that out the way. Running paid ads is against the terms of service, but we're operating in somewhat of a gray area to an allowed area. And so I'm going to run through these three ways, and then I'm going to go in a little bit deeper and provide some examples of each. But number one, building a non-cannabis brand. Number two is running influencer marketing campaigns. And number three is something that we like to call at Respect Region creative brand integration. So I will run through, let me share my screen real quick, and we can go through some of these different ways. So let's see what I've got here. So the first one is starting a non-cannabis brand. Option, hold on 1 second. And the last thing I ever want to do is bring energy to anyone, but I've been served these ads numerous times, so it's got to be public information. I'm not out here snitching. Obviously, cookies is the biggest example of this. Cookies started as a lifestyle apparel brand before they were a cannabis brand, so they still have their apparel brand out, which has traditional stores, burners touring the country with a bus wrapped in cookies, promoting clothing and cookies. Their clothing Instagram and social media profiles can run ads because they're promoting apparel and not cannabis. And I know some states have actually wrote specific laws not allowing this, but then those same states allow cookies. So I'm sure if there were some nuance, that could be challenged in the court of law and be won. But regardless, we're talking about cannabis. Everything is a little bit of a gray area, as we mentioned at the start. Anyways, so popular California brand, flower, cannabis brand, I know them for their flower, is Fresh Baked. Um, they're a really great brand. I started getting served these ads on Instagram for Fresh Baked LB, their Instagram page. And so if you look at this, it's built fresh baked clothing, freshly cultivated apparel. They're taking, if you've never heard of Fresh Baked and click on this, words like cultivated, or we are Long Beach farmers, cultivated. Those keywords make you think cannabis without actually saying cannabis. And that's the main thing when operating on social media or running the ads around these regulations. If you have any imagery or words that explicitly say cannabis, marijuana, weed, fire, nugs, dabs, big smoke clouds, whatever, and potentially the issue on this is potentially encouraging the use or the sale of, which is super vague. And I know anyone in cannabis that has a social media profile has had things flagged and or taken down. And it's like if you understood the context or that's not right, but it is what it is. We're playing in their sandbox. So anyways, to look at this, I know that these guys are running ads because again, I've been served them. Fresh Baked is a cannabis company, but they started this clothing line, and so they're able to run ads on all this. And if you look, some of this stuff isn't that great in terms of brand awareness, but this one, Fresh Baked, right across the front. Some of this apparel, has their logo on it. This is real creative and artsy. They might actually be trying to sell clothing, but a big thing about this is they can run uh, advertising on Instagram and Facebook and promote their logo in a top funnel marketing. Oh, sorry, some noise in the background. Excuse that. But when running these ads on Facebook and Instagram, they can leverage getting this top funnel awareness of getting their logo and brand name out in front of other people. Sorry, so running these ads, Facebook and Instagram, one of the most popular advertising platforms on, and they're popular because of one, the user base, two, the targeting. The way that you can dial in geofencing and demographic wise is unbelievable. So being able to use this, even if you're not converting, if you have a cannabis brand and you start a clothing brand with the same name, even if you're not selling your clothing, like your goal is just to promote your name and your brand in a highly concentrated, targeted way, that is a super win. If I had a cannabis brand, I would be doing this. I would be allocating hundreds or thousands of dollars a month on strictly ads without even the care of direct ROI on sales. It would simply be to get my brand and logo in front of the people I want to see my brand and logo. So this is one of the ways Cookies does it. Fresh Baked is obviously doing it. Again, I don't ever want to snitch on anyone, but I get served these ads, and I'm sure other people do. They've built 3,000 followers on this. So I'm sure this isn't isn't a secret. But this is a way to run paid Facebook and Instagram ads for your cannabis business. When you're not promoting cannabis specifically, you've got to be creative with the keywords and how you post, but you can get your brand and logo in front of people using these targeting tools, which is incredibly powerful. And again, I invest my own money in this, and if you run a cannabis business, you probably make more money than myself. So I would implore you to do this. And it's not even about using me or using anyone like myself. I just think this is a great tool. So, anyways, on to the second one, influencer marketing. I'm going to pull up one of the influencers in this space, America, who happens to be a good friend of ours at RMR. She originally is from Seattle, where we started. Now she's been in LA. She's one of the popular influencers in the cannabis space. We've worked with her quite a bit of times and is a genuine friend of ours that we've known for many years. Um, back when she was just working in the industry, before she was on the influencer stuff. We've known Erica for a while. So she's an influencer we've worked with. So you can work with America or other influencers like her for product integrations. If you look at her posts, she gets great engagement, great view count, and like the real views, you know, even amongst shadow bans and stuff like that. She's going to 86,000 views, 40,000 views, 62,000 views. She's got products and brands integrated in this, got them tagged. Again, I've worked with her. We've worked with her on these campaigns and other influencers like her. She has a good idea of how to post content and integrate your brand or your products into her posts authentically and organically that will get crazy reach in a targeted demographic. Obviously, when working with influencers, you're not paying specifically for ads. You're not running Facebook ads, but it is a paid ad when you are paying an influencer to post. Instead of running the ads and putting yourself up for review in the deep algorithm of is this content okay for an ad, you can simply take an influencer who has an organic demographic that you want to reach and work with them to reach that. So it is a paid ad. Um, she has a great idea of what gets flagged, what doesn't, how to do cannabis content to reach people, even with a shadow ban, and not get taken down. Again, if you follow her page, it's not all cannabis stuff. She's got plenty of stuff on her real life, and she is a real cannabis consumer. So the stuff that she posts on there fits in. She promotes brands. It drives awareness. It drives likes. It drives conversions. We've worked with her, so we know all of this to be true. And there's other influencers out there that you can work with. When it comes to influencer marketing, one of the key things is understanding, are their followers real? There's tools out there to use that. But you can always kind of look at their follower count and then look at their view and comment count. That's one of the easy ways you can do without running the tool. You have to take things with a grain of salt because there are shadow bans out here. And also, some of these people get crazy views on their stories. So if you can get a package where they post on their wall and post on their story, you might be able to get a nice package where you really reach a lot of people. And on the story, you can usually do a link swipe up. We just got a question. What's a good way to approach or connect with an influencer? Really, just being on Instagram and reaching out to them. Anthony, to answer your question, if you can find, go on Instagram and just find people that have, followings. Look around, search through hashtags if you're aware of people, and then just reach out with them. Influencers make their money off of social media, so unsurprisingly, they're really approachable and easy to talk to through Instagram. If they have like she has a link tree in her bio, I'm not sure. Let's see, just click real quick. There might be okay, so she doesn't have like a email on there directly. Sometimes I'll have an email in there. Sometimes I'll have an email here, or yeah, right there. She's got her email right there at the top to reach out. These guys get paid off of their Instagram, so they're going to be pretty good at responding to anyone looking to pay them to use them for their Instagram. That's how these people make money. So they're usually pretty approachable. And again, I've known Erica for a long time. My relationship with her predates um, her being at the place she's at with being an influencer. So I'm not sure. Again, my communication with her isn't always been business. There's been some friendship there, but she's super approachable, super easy, and at least I can vouch for her. And I know there's others that like that are super professional in terms of you can go back and forth, you can work, you can look at what things will look like before it posts. They'll give you the analytics or screenshots afterwards. And will communicate post things on deadlines with when you work with creatives is very difficult. But I found influencers honestly to be pretty solid at a lot of things that creatives tend to be a little bit more difficult about. But you can just reach out to these people on Instagram. There are some ways, like if you guys have a budget and really want to figure out stuff, I do have some friends that can do some crazy data scrapes and provide a list of influencers. They do this stuff for like Microsoft and big corporations. But if there's a I don't even use that for everything because I got to pull in some favors or pull out a budget, but we can do a big data analysis or influencer analysis on any specific vertical or area and get a big report and not just Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. We have some people in our network that can pull those types of data lists for you. So, feel free to reach out. Um, and so, yeah, influencer marketing, I think is a great way. It's very popular in cannabis. But I was saying earlier, one of the main things you have to look is make sure their followers are real, make sure they have an engaging follower base, and then also um, understand where their demographics at. On Instagram, you don't might not always get the analytics, even on the creator side, of where all your audience is at, but you can look at comments and see. If you're looking at a creator, and you're always going to see if someone's popular on the internet, you're going to see comments from all over the world. But if you look at their profile and all you see is like, wish we had this in UK, wish we had this in Germany, wish this was in South America, if you're a vaporizer company that sells anywhere, that might be fine to work with that influencer. But if you're a cannabis producer that really only has a presence in SoCal, maybe that global audience doesn't matter for you. I always say, like Snoop Dogg, to work with Snoop Dogg is a very large sum of money. And obviously, he's very influential. But is that money worth it for how much his audience is specified in the exact neighborhood, county, or state you want to be? Maybe not. If you're on a big national place, Snoop Dogg could be a great uh, spokesperson or work with on an influencer campaign. But if you're just opening a specific shop in, say, Spokane, Washington, obviously Snoop Dogg will bring people out. Will he give you the ROI for people out versus his cost because his audience is so global? I personally don't think so. But again, it depends on your goals as a brand. So moving on from influencer marketing, the third way that you can run paid ads on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube is something that we call creative brand integration. And I've got some examples here I'll go into in a second, but essentially, this is working with someone outside of cannabis, whether it's and not you. The first way we talked about was building your own non-cannabis brand that still has the same logo and brand as your brand. That is building, in my way, a non-cannabis brand that's built on your brand. Cookies has Cookies Clothing and Cookies Cannabis. I showed the example of Fresh Baked has Fresh Baked Cannabis and the Fresh Baked Apparel. Um, Creative brand integration would be working with a musician, working with another brand, working with someone else who has a brand that is not cannabis and getting your content in there. I think if you had, there's that dude, I can't remember his name, Ines, he plays the ukulele, and all the popular like rap songs or pop songs come out, and he'll play the ukulele, and he'll have like the artist that did the big song do like this acapella, well not acapella, but this rendition over the ukulele, and the stuff goes viral. It's crazy. It's super dope. And I know he used to work with like West Coast Pier, for example, and he'd be in there jamming on the ukulele, wearing West Coast Pier hat, West Coast Pier shirt, I think even a West Coast Pier like man bag. And this thing is going viral, and you're getting that brand, West Coast Pier, the name, the logo, the apparel, you're getting it in front of millions of people in a way that you're not advertising cannabis, and you're not even advertising it on a West Coast Pier adjacent thing, and it's not even necessarily an influencer marketing, it's just this creative brand integration where you're creatively integrating your brand into content that can reach people in the audience you want to reach. And again, you can work with existing clothing companies. I've seen people do collabs with actual like cookie or dessert companies. The music stuff, obviously running a music video where there might be a slow mo pan shot and someone's got your box or mylar bag without them smoking or something right there on the table, to where someone can see, oh, that's a cannabis product, and maybe they're hat, or maybe they're wearing the saucy shirt, right? And so they're in this music video rocking the clothes. Maybe the product makes an integration. And if you have it right and it's not super explicit content, you can then run ads on that and get your brand creatively integrated in Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube ads, targeting the demographics you want. And again, all of this is about leveraging the powerful targeting tools of these advertising platforms. That is the main goal in doing this. It's not to be able to run an ad to get a delivery sale, those direct conversions. People need to break that. When you are leveraging these things in this gray area, it is about top funnel brand awareness, which matters. Anyone that's in a competitive market will tell you. It's funny, when I was first got into legal cannabis in 2016, the weed sold itself. It's true. that's the supply and demand in Washington. There wasn't enough supply for the demand. Open up a weed store anywhere, there's a line out the building. The weed sold itself. As there is now a store there, a store across the parking lot, a store across the street, a store down the street, and then on all those stores have so many different brands on their shelves. Now the need to just have your brand be recognized and known is super, super strong. And so whether you're in a competitive market or you're still in one of these fairy tale lands where, oh, the weed sells itself, I'm telling you this stuff's going to matter. And there are some creative ways to take advantage of it that very few to no one else is doing. Um, so to show an example, let's see which content type would be good. So we did this um, content campaign, Rain City Relief. If you look at this, this right here. We did a charity thing, and it was powered by the Reef Cannabis, which is a dispensary chain up here in Seattle. They have a location in Capitol Hill, in Seattle, Georgetown of Seattle, and then Bremerton. So we have three stores. So we work with the Reef, we work with Weed Maps, and we work with Pack on. We did a 10-song vinyl featuring 10 artists from all over Seattle, all different songs. We brought them into the studio. We rented out a studio for 3 days. They came in, they did these live renditions of these songs. We put out a 10-track album, and for every song, we did a live performance video that we put up on all social media and ran ads on. It was all powered by cannabis. This was a nonprofit campaign where we sold albums and took donations, and 100% of those donations and profits went to artists 100%. We didn't take a literal dollar for doing this. The brands put up the money to produce this, and then literally every dollar we put back. I think we raised like $60,000, $70,000 for local artists relief during COVID through this, and we put a lot of these artists on content that got them new fans, awareness, and in record stores really across the country and I believe the world. So it's a really cool way to give these artists money and distribution. But one of the things that we did with this was the brands wanted to get support. So if you look at this, we ran this is one of the videos we did. So we look, this one has over 11,000 views. So it's like a quick interview and then a live performance. And then right at the end, we have this pop up. This is just one of the full pieces of content. So, wait, no, that's the one. So we did multiple pieces of content. Yeah, right there. So there's a bunch of different pieces of content, different clips on YouTube. Sorry, I pulled up the wrong one. Excuse me for that. And then we also had little micro clips that we use on social media, 15, 30 seconds. So if you look at this, so the Reef's regular logo says the Reef, and then where this dot is cannabis. But if you know what you know, you can take the word cannabis off. It's still the same logo, still the same name. So in order to make this clean for running ads, we had to do that. But this right within the first few seconds has the main sponsor, the store behind this, has their logo. And then at the very end, we have a pop-up right here with Seattle World Tour. That's our charity. The Reef logo again. Weed Maps. Obviously, we couldn't say Weed Maps. We used the WM. That is clean and packed. And so this video right here is 2,800 views. But if you look at all the content, it's over 100,000 views on YouTube. And a lot of this was using targeted YouTube ads specifically at the city of Seattle. Again, the dispensary is there, and Weed Maps and Packs put up an advertising budget to reach Seattle. So we're able to do this creative brand integration where we were running non-cannabis content powered by cannabis content with proper cannabis brand representation inside of it, but did it in a clean way where the algorithm's not going to catch it. And I will tell you, we had a ton of ads. We ran probably 50 to 60 different types of ads for this. Numerous of them got flagged. I did advertising for real estate outside of cannabis. Ads get flagged by the algorithm all the time. Even if you have nothing to do with cannabis, simply running real estate, following the book, ads get flagged. It's just what the algorithm does. You appeal it, and then it gets reversed. And that's one of the main problems with cannabis is accounts and things get flagged so often, but then when you appeal and they recognize your cannabis, they're like, piss off, man. We don't care. But this was looked at. I talked on the phone with Google support, Facebook support for ads that were flagged, and they manually approved everything, even with these cannabis sponsors right here. The Reef, Weed Maps, Impacts are on here. I've had multiple support people look at this and have manually approved this ad because we aren't breaking any of the regulations. They don't know the nuance of customer support from Google overseas. They know that Pax is a cannabis vaporizer company. They know WM is Weed Maps. The Reef could be anything. So we were able to get this top funnel brand awareness for these cannabis brands, leveraging YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook ads by doing something that we at Respect Marketing call the creative brand integration. So this is something I've talked about. This is something I've wrote about in the past, but I wanted to get on here today for Digital Trapper Institute and actually show real life examples, all with stuff we've done, I've seen, physically done myself, or we've done, or ways that we've worked in. There are ways to run paid ads on Instagram and Facebook and even YouTube. Paid ads, not just organic content, but paid ads, integrating your cannabis brand in there. It's probably not the way that you might think or want off top, but I think it's incredibly valuable. It's tools that we use, tools that our partners use, and this is the type of stuff I love. If you guys have any questions, want to talk about this, please feel free to reach out. Mitch at respectmarketing.com, Mitch Pfeifer on LinkedIn. Add me, shoot me a DM. More than happy to help, explain, talk more, provide more context. Even if you hate it, get upset about some of the stuff I have, shoot some of that hate my way. I'll take any and all feedback. And if you have a brand or company that wants to work on some of this cool stuff, we would love to do it with you. So please tap in. I look forward to talking to everyone. This is episode 3 of the DTI Digital Trapper Institute, giving you guys game for digital marketing in the cannabis space. We'll be back next week with more